Guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video on my channel, Hairliciously. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe so that you guys are updated on hair loss and hair transplant topics, as well as updates on current hair loss treatments in the pipeline. So in today's video, I wanted to share with you an update regarding Kintor Pharmaceuticals KX826 pyrilutamide treatment. And for those who don't know what pyrilutamide is, it's basically a non-steroidal anti-androgen that blocks endogenous androgens like DHT and testosterone from binding to the androgen receptors in the hair follicles that causes androgenic alopecia. Now, I've been a huge fan of pyrilutamide because it is one of the strongest anti-androgens available, and it also has one of the highest binding affinities to the androgen receptor, making it one of the best anti-androgen treatments available today. Now, we do have other anti-androgens like RU581, CB0301, bicalutamide, but they are far weaker in comparison to pyrilutamide, and they are not going to be as efficacious in slowing further miniaturization. A few months ago, Kintor released an investor relations memo regarding Chinese phase 3 clinical trials for pyrilutamide in their 24-week period. And a lot of you guys were somewhat disappointed in the results because compared with placebo, the total area hair count in the pyrilutamide 0.5% twice a day group increased at each visit point, but the difference did not reach statistical significance. It did, however, show a trend in efficacy. And when I read this, I wasn't really disappointed because to me, a trend in efficacy meant that over time, this small difference was going to get bigger and bigger, which would mean that pyrilutamide possibly just needed more time to grow hairs. But, a lot of people, they felt that pyrilutamide was a bust, that it was just useless. Kintor's stocks dropped like 35%. And a lot of people are confused because, previously, phase 2 results in China and in the US showed some pretty good improvement in hair growth. So Kintor went with a full 1-year phase 3 clinical trial study that looked at long-term safety and to see how this trend in efficacy turned out in the 1-year period. So here's what the results revealed. The analysis results of 95 male patients who completed 52 weeks treatment showed that as far as regarding safety, pyrilutamide tincture demonstrated great safety and tolerability as a whole without any adverse side effects related to the drug reported. The common treatment-related adverse events were itching at application sites, and most of them were mild, not affecting the daily life of patients. So, obviously, this is good news. There were no sexual side effects, which is another plus in my book. And in terms of efficacy, after 12, 24, 36, and 52 weeks treatment, both the total area hair count and target area non-vellus hair width showed an increase from baseline, among which the total area hair count increased by 9.5%, 13%, 11.4%, and 9.7% respectively. Total area hair width increased by 12.1%, 18.6%, 15.7%, and 10% respectively, with statistically significant results. Such results were significantly better than the results from the previous 0.5% phase 3 clinical trial at 24 weeks. The hair growth assessment indicators from investigators and patients both experienced various degrees of improvement from baseline, demonstrating a trend in efficacy. The results showed that, as assessed by investigators, 60.9%, 69.5%, 64%, and 54% of patients saw improvements in the hair growth from baseline after the treatment of 12, 24, 36, and 52 weeks respectively. So, obviously much better results than the previously 24-week study. It looks like pyrilutamide's efficacy peaks around the 24 to 36 week mark, and then it kind of dips back down at the 1-year mark to averaging around 10% improvement in both total area hair count and total area hair width. So averaging around 10%, it's definitely not something we can expect to cure hair loss, but it did help maintain the hairs as well as provide overall improvement and, importantly, maintenance from further miniaturization. If we look at 5-AR inhibitors like oral finasteride or oral dutasteride, for example, their efficacy in inhibiting further miniaturization by blocking the 5-AR enzyme has actually been extremely efficacious in the long run and relatively stable without losing, efficacy or fluctuations. And, they also have been around for several decades now. It also shows, once again, that anyone afflicted with hair loss needs to get on finasteride as a primary source of hair loss treatment because, it's proven to work and we're not seeing any dips or any fluctuations like we do as much as we do see here in pyrilutamide. And it turns out that even to this day, nothing really beats drugs ingested orally. We have topical treatments, including topical finasteride or topical dutasteride. It doesn't really seem to respond as favorably when compared to its oral counterpart. And there's also a lot of users who have claimed to have lost efficacy when on topical treatment. So obviously, the best efficacy, comes when it's being ingested orally and metabolized by the liver. This is also the same when it comes to, topical versus oral minoxidil, where we still see far better results and improvement in those who switched over from oral minoxidil as opposed to the topical. Now, with that said, I am still a huge advocate in using pyrilutamide in conjunction with other hair loss treatments because it does work. It does help with, stabilization of further miniaturization, and also works in a different mechanism of action. And the best treatment in combating hair loss is by incorporating various treatments that target hair loss through different mechanisms of action. Efficacy of certain hair loss treatments can also be patient dependent, especially when it comes to something like minoxidil. But when you're using different treatments, you can target hair loss at various angles, which maximizes the best potential in regrowth and stopping further miniaturization. And I think a good analogy that I can think of is when you're taking care of your body, right? There's many ways to improve your health and lead a healthy lifestyle. For example, you guys can eat healthy. You can take, vitamins. You can exercise, get adequate sleep. There's, you can reduce stress levels. So there's a lot of things that you can do for your health that take on different forms. And in the same way, you can target hair loss through different mechanisms of action that work in a synergistic effect to give you the most benefit and potential in stopping hair loss. The other update that I wanted to mention for Kintor is that they also have completed their first subject enrollment in the pivotal phase 2 and 3 clinical trial of their 1% pyrilutamide concentration for treating hair loss in men. This is going to take place in China. Previous studies did indicate that the 1% concentration had a significantly higher retention rate in human scalp cells compared to the 0.5% concentration, and the 1% concentration likely was going to result in a better efficacy in terms of regrowth. So, obviously this is very positive news as we may see even better total area hair count and total area hair width with a higher concentration of pyrilutamide, and I really look forward to seeing the results of this clinical trial. So their trial is going to be a multi-center, randomized, double-blinded, vehicle-controlled phase 2 and phase 3 study with adaptive designs to evaluate the efficacy and safety of KX826 tincture 1% for the treatment of male adults with androgen alopecia in China. Phase 2 is going to have 0.5%, 1%, and a control group receiving treatments twice a day for 24 weeks. There's going to be 30 patients in each group. And then phase 3 is going to have over 200 patients enrolled for each group who are going to be receiving treatment with the stipulated dosages over a 24 period time. So I'm really excited to see how efficacious the 1% of pyrilutamide is going to be, because we know that the higher concentration had a higher retention concentration on human scalp cells compared to the 0.5%, and is therefore expected to enhance the clinical efficacy. So as soon as we do receive further updates from Kintor, I will let you guys know. But that's pretty much the two main updates that we got from Kintor, and they've really been on top of things, and there's no other company like Kintor, in my opinion, who is able to deliver and meet their deadlines and keep us continually updated on their progress. And I'm really thankful that it really shows that Kintor is committed in really pushing out these clinical trials so that hopefully, one day we can get better treatments to treat hair loss. So let me know what your thoughts are on pyrilutamide, and if you guys have been, using pyrilutamide, share in the comments on how it's been working out for you. But thanks again, guys. Thanks for all of your support, and I will try my best to continue and create more content on a more scheduled basis. But until then, I will talk to you guys next time, and take care.